They say if you hear your name called in the Appalachian woods, don't answer. And if you see something that looks human but doesn't move like one, don't look twice. And whatever you do, don't whistle. Welcome to the Appalachian Mountains, 2,000 miles of ancient history, chilling folklore, and conspiracy theories that go way beyond campfires, banjos, and backwoods. Grab a blanket, lock your doors, because today we're going for a walk in the woods while making a Halloween horror pie. You know the ones with the messed up faces on the front? I'll show you a picture. It's gonna be here.
Jesus Christ.
I want this pie to be the most vile, disgusting thing anyone has ever seen. I want to startle people. I want people to look at this pie and be like, oh, a pie. And then they see it and they're like, ugh. I want people to be deeply disturbed by the appearance of this pie, okay? Before I get into it, if you want to know what's going to be in this pie from the depths of hell, the ingredients are going to be on the screen now. I feel like this needs to be a bit more creepy. That's better. I absolutely love Halloween. I love everything about Halloween, as you can probably tell. So obviously I had to get dressed up because I find it so much fun, and I'm finding doing these videos so much fun, so it's definitely something that I'm going to continue to do. So obviously I had to make a Halloween video, and like I said, I'm going to do one of those disgusting horror pies with faces, and it's going to be disgusting and dark and eerie and spooky and mystery and everything I hoped this channel would be. So I hope you enjoy. Over the years, hundreds of hikers have gone missing along the Appalachian Trail. Some vanished without a trace. No blood, no tracks, no gear left behind, just gone. One of the most chilling cases, Dennis Martin. Now, I'm just gonna give this my full attention before I properly get into the recipe. Just because this was a real missing persons case and it was obviously a child. I just feel like it deserves my total full attention and respect. He was a 6-year-old boy who vanished without a trace in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park on June 14th, 1969 during a Father's Day weekend camping trip with his family. They were at a place called Spencefield near the Appalachian Trail. Dennis had been playing a simple game of hide and seek with his brother and some other children while the adults watched nearby. He ran behind a bush to hide, and then apparently he was just gone. In less than 5 minutes, Dennis had disappeared completely without a trace. What followed was one of the largest search and rescue operations in US National Park history. Over 1,400 people, including the National Guard, volunteers, and even the Green Berets, combed the area with dogs, helicopters, and tracking teams. But not a single trace of Dennis was ever found. No clothes, no footprints, no remains. The tracker dogs reportedly became confused at one point and lost the scent, and some dogs apparently outright refused to continue altogether. Something the handlers found deeply unsettling, especially as these dogs are expertly trained to do what they are doing. And this is where it gets a little bit odd. Around the same time Dennis vanished, another family, hiking known as the Key family, reported hearing a chilling, almost animalistic scream echo through the forest. Moments later, they spotted what they described as a dishevelled, wild-looking man running through the woods and looking like he was trying to avoid being seen. Now, this is especially disturbing when you find out that there are rumours of cannibals and feral humans supposedly living in these mountains. Some people believe it, others do not. It's kind of up to you what you choose to believe with that one. But the family described the man as barefoot, filthy, and appeared to be carrying something over his shoulder. The family reportedly was so disturbed by what they had seen that they immediately reported it to park rangers and the FBI. But strangely, this lead was quietly dismissed. They said they found insufficient evidence to link the sighting to Martin's disappearance and concluded it was too far-fetched. The National Park Service didn't publicly connect the sightings to Dennis's disappearance, and apparently no formal search was ever conducted in the direction the man had been seen running. A little bit suspicious if you ask me, and I think other people pretty much agree. Like, why would you not go and pursue that lead? The case remains unsolved to this day and has sparked decades of speculation. Some people believe Dennis was abducted by a feral person or even a hidden off-grid group or cult living deep in the Appalachian wilderness. Others have even suggested an animal attack, but no evidence has ever supported that theory or possibility. Then there's the more chilling possibility that something more mysterious was involved. The presence of the Green Berets, who supposedly never disclosed their mission or coordinated with the park rangers, has fueled rumours of government cover-up or classified knowledge about something hidden in the mountains. You see, if you're not familiar, the Green Berets are an elite special operations force within the United States Army. These aren't just your average soldiers, they're trained in unconventional warfare, counter-terrorism and covert operations. The kind of missions that would normally take place deep behind enemy lines and often in absolute secrecy. So the question is, why were they involved in a search for a missing 6-year-old boy in the middle of the Smoky Mountains? Why would the Special Forces, armed, silent and operating separately from public search teams, be called in? Unless there was something in those woods the public wasn't supposed to find. The official explanation as to why they were used in the search was that they were conducting training exercises nearby, and they were mobilised to support the massive searching effort because the mountains can be so unpredictable and the environment is just rough. Their involvement was not to hunt a mythical creature or feral humans, but most people don't accept this explanation. Due to the sighting of the dishevelled man running through the woods with something over his shoulder was dismissed. A lot of people say that that was a load of baloney in their excuse. Whether Dennis Martin's disappearance was the result of a tragic accident, a calculated abduction, or something far more eerie and sinister, the truth remains buried in those mountains, unanswered for over 50 years. His case is absolutely heartbreaking, and we can only hope that someday his family get the closure they deserve. To this day, Dennis Martin's disappearance remains one of the most chilling unsolved cases in national park history. But here's the other part that keeps people up at night. He isn't the only person who vanished in these woods, not even close. The exact number of missing people in the mountains are kind of hard to pin down because the region spans multiple states and there's no central database to help anyone keep track of these people that vanish. On the Appalachian Trail itself, some estimates report that as many as 1,200 hikers go missing each year, and some of them vanishing without a trace, no clues, no evidence, just gone. Just like Dennis. It's eerie because it's hard to disappear without leaving any clues behind, like nothing at all. So whatever's causing these people to vanish may still be out there, hidden in the vast, shadowed slopes of the mountains. Now, to go in my pie, I'm using sweet cherries. It's going to be a sweet cherry pie. But I'm hoping that it's not going to look sweet. I'm hoping it's going to look like the most disgusting thing anyone's ever seen. Proper Halloween style. So these are frozen cherries I'm using. The recipe doesn't actually say to use frozen cherries. It just says to use pitted cherries. But I use these cherries all the time in like smoothies and on my breakfast and stuff. And I just know that they're really nice. So I'm just going to bang them in the microwave to kind of defrost them and hope that doesn't make a difference, because my thinking is you're cooking them anyway, so it doesn't matter if they're warm. You know what I mean? Okay. So, cherries defrosted, microwave, whatever you want to call it. I never use the defroster because I'm too lazy to change the oil. Doesn't make a difference to me. Mix the cherries, sugar, corn flour. What, so I just chuck everything in the bowl? There's This is easy. It's gonna be the easiest pie ever. Corn flour, which is 2 tablespoons. I don't know if it's like heaped tablespoons or what, but we're just gonna put it in. It's fine. I do. I think that's just like thicken it up because like the filling of a pie is like usually quite thick. Lemon juice. Need to cut my lemon. Now the Appalachian Mountains is pretty rough, which is probably why a lot of people end up going missing, because it doesn't take a lot to succumb to the weather and the rough conditions of the mountains. Apparently they've been around since like dinosaur times. I read somewhere the other day that they were on the earth the same time as dinosaurs, so as you can imagine there's a lot of probably crazy shit that lives in the mountains, and a lot of stuff that probably we haven't discovered yet. And one of those things apparently might be something called not deer. Now, if you spend enough time in the Appalachian Mountains, especially deep in the woods of North Carolina or West Virginia, you might hear whispers about something called not deer. People who have been to these areas have described seeing what looks like a deer until it moves wrong. And no, it's not just some weird looking animal, it's something much worse. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. You're driving down a winding mountain road at night. The air is heavy with fog, the trees are tall, they lean in close on either side and are filled with endless, hollow darkness. The only sound is the hum of your engine. As you approach the bend, your headlights sweep across something in the road. You slam on the brakes. You stopped motionless in the dead of night amongst these silent woods. You sigh with relief and you realise it's just a cute little deer. And then your stomach drops. Something's wrong. Terribly wrong. The more you look through the fog, the more you notice its legs are too long, bending at angles no living creature should. Its neck twists and turns unnaturally, stretching way too far. The body is familiar but dwarfed, like something wearing the skin of a deer without knowing how it's supposed to fit. And then it lifts its head. These aren't soft, glassy eyes of innocent prey. They're sharp, unblinking, and fixed on you with a stillness that makes your hairs on the arms stand on end. Its gaze is heavy, suffocating, focused, watching you with patience from a predator that doesn't need to rush. It's studying you, measuring you. It knows you see it, and it knows you don't belong here. Locals call it not deer because it looks like a deer but moves like something pretending to be one, like a puppet wearing a costume it doesn't quite understand. Some say they've seen not deer walk on 2 legs, or heard them make clicking noises, or laughing sounds, or even speak in strange, disjointed voices. One witness claimed that the creature stepped onto the road, locked eyes with them, and then mouthed the words, People have reported seeing its neck bend way too far, its eyes face forward like a predator, and others have said it's got about 12 eyes and deformed antlers, and some have said it walks on 2 legs, and others said it just watches you for hours. They say if you see it once, you'll be fine, but if it sees you, it might follow you home. And apparently that's a common occurrence in the Appalachian Mountains with the mythical creatures that are supposed to live there. Psychologists would say the not deer taps into what scientists call the uncanny valley, that eerie gut deep comfort when we feel that something looks almost right but not quite. It's the same feeling you get from like lifelike mannequins or those old AI generated faces where the smile doesn't quite reach the eyes, it just doesn't look right. When your brain recognizes the shape, the pattern, but somewhere deep in your survival instincts an alarm goes off screaming, that's not real, that's not safe, that's not supposed to be here. Hey, that's my line. Alright, sorry. Honestly. Okay. Folklorists believe that the not deer may be a modern expression of mimic spirits found in the old Appalachian tales. beings that take on familiar forms to lure humans away from the path. But cryptid researchers have other theories. Some think it's a mutation, an animal that's been affected by maybe the radiation from a Cold War bunker that's buried deep in the mountains. And others think it's an interdimensional being, a thing that slips in and out of reality in places where the veil between the worlds is a bit thin, allowing them to sneak through. And then there's the darker theory, that the not deer isn't pretending to be a deer at all, that it used to be one, but something changed it. Maybe radiation, maybe an experiment gone wrong, or maybe it's someone playing with some sort of witchcraft they didn't quite understand. So if you ever find yourself driving through the mountains at night and you see something standing in the trees just past your headlights, do yourself a favour, don't stop, don't stare, and whatever you do, don't roll your window down. Sorry to cut the Halloween vibe, but I got to squeeze my lemon. So, it says a teaspoon, no, a tablespoon, but obviously I'm just gonna like wing it. Jeez Louise, that's a tough lemon. Okay, that's enough, I think. Vanilla extract, which is a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Whoa, that's thick. Is that the right stuff? It's going in, I don't know. It's fine, it'll be fine. Okay, so now all of that's in the bowl, I just need to mix it around. In the Appalachian Mountains, there is one known golden rule. Don't whistle at night. Why? Because something might whistle back and it might be far from human. Local folklore warns that whistling can attract restless spirits or dangerous shapeshifters like skinwalkers, wendigos, or even mimics. Creatures that are said to haunt the dense woods and imitate human sounds to lure or scare travelers going through the woods. Hikers and campers often share chilling stories online in different forums, but especially on Reddit, it is rife with Appalachian stories and spooky things that have gone on in the mountains. They often talk about hearing strange whistling near their campsites. One Reddit user wrote, "I was camping solo in the Smokies. I often like to get away on my own, and I heard this whistling circling my tent for hours. No matter where I moved, it kept following me. It wasn't just an echo, it felt like something was toying with me. It kept looking, and I even called out, but I couldn't tell who or what was out there. I've never been scared to go camping on my own. I've done it a million times, but I was so scared I had to leave." Another user said, "I whistled a tune just to lighten the mood, and moments later I heard the exact same tune back. It wasn't an echo, it was the same whistle. It was my whistle, perfectly copied. The mood shifted from happy to dark, and me and my friends couldn't sleep all night because we didn't know what was out there watching us." This sounds really mushy and gross when I'm talking, so I just need to try and mix it as much as I can. I'm gonna try and squash. Oh my god, I got cherries stuck in my whisk. Maybe I should get the mashed potato masher. No, okay, that's too far. Okay, I think, like, I don't know if you meant to crush the cherry. It doesn't say to crush the cherries, so. A camper in West Virginia also shared a really eerie encounter. They said, "I was out there with my group and one of our guys told a dark joke, so I laughed and whistled, and then out of nowhere I heard my own laugh and whistle repeated behind us. Not as an echo, it was much slower and drawn out. It sounded like I was being mocked in a menacing way, and it was really loud and clear. We all immediately looked at each other, wide-eyed. We reluctantly checked our surroundings as it made us feel unsafe, but we found nothing. Throughout the evening, it was pretty clear that something was lurking by our camp. We kept hearing movement, and felt what can only be described as a dark shift in the air. So we tried to lighten it up by joking around again and trying to convince ourselves that we were being paranoid and it was just an animal. But all I could think was an animal wouldn't be able to copy a laugh and a whistle like that. And I'm pretty sure the other guys thought the same thing. Eventually, it became too much, so we all packed up and called it quits. I think it's fair to say that none of us will be camping there again. It all just felt really sinister. Some people even report hearing voices calling their names or strange knocking sounds on nearby trees. These eerie experiences add to the Appalachian Mountains' reputation as a place where the line between this world and the unknown is thin, and where some sounds aren't natural sounds at all. Now, as I said, Reddit is like the gold mine for Appalachian stories. So listen to this one story from a user on Reddit. Their Reddit name is... well, I'm just gonna put it on the screen. I searched Reddit like endless non-stop. I found so many stories that I could have included in this video, but you just have to narrow them down, otherwise this video is going to be about 4 hours long. This post is from 3 years ago by someone who actually lived in the mountains and is titled, "I had a terrifying encounter in the Appalachian Mountains and I'm looking for answers." Here's what they had to say. Let me start by saying I've lived in the Appalachian Mountains all my life and I've experienced a lot of strange things. My family was Irish and settled in West Virginia, but I currently live in the North Carolina portion of these wonderful mountains. That being said, I have learned a lot about what really lurks in these dark woods, but this was like nothing I've ever experienced before. It all began with my golden retriever Ozzy, growling like I've never heard before. He literally never growled, so this already had me uncomfortable. But this growl was so chilling. It was like he was getting ready to have a fight for his life or something. I took both him and my other dog out at around 11 PM and he would not leave my side. I noticed that my workshop door was open, so I walked down to close and lock it up. The entire time he was glued to my side. Ozzy also kept trying to get in between my legs, still growling with all of his hair sticking straight up like a little animal. The second I closed the door, all hell breaks loose in the woods. It sounded like 50 full-grown men had broken out in full sprint, tearing through the woods. Trees were shaking and branches were fleeing. In my life, I have never been that scared. We got back in the house. It was because he said, I had to get back in the house before I shit my pants. Sorry, that really got me. Alright, okay. Alright, okay, back. Okay, let's set the mood again, please. Okay? Let's do this.
All I can picture now is just hearing you say shit my pants.
I can't do it. Basically, he shit his pants. He had to get back in the house before he shit his pants, okay? Let's just get past that bit. Okay. I got my pistol. Okay. Alright. Alright, we've got it. He shit his pants. That's it. Done. And I got my pistol out to figure out what the hell was out there. When the dog and I got back outside, we were surrounded by what sounded like people mumbling. It was everywhere. I shined the light all over the woods and I couldn't see anything, but the sound was coming from all around. It sounded as if you had gotten a full gym of people to baby mumble. I could almost make out the words, and that's why I don't think it was an animal. I almost immediately felt sick, like I was having a mix between a panic attack and a full swing of the flu. Back inside the house, it sounded like people were walking around all night. Windows were creaking, and you could clearly hear the sound of shoes on gravel. The mumbling never stopped. Every time I got up to check the house, the second my feet would touch the floor, it would get dead silent. You couldn't hear birds, crickets, frogs, or anything. I was terrified and I didn't sleep a wink. The air felt thick and evil all night. That's the only way I could explain the feeling. Imagine a soaking wet quilt being tossed over you. That's how I felt. I am looking for any answers as to what this could be. This wasn't like normal spooky stories my grandma and great uncles used to tell me. Like, just imagine you're in the woods by yourself and you live there, so you're usually totally unfazed by anything, and all of a sudden you hear the trees thrashing and voices mumbling and the feeling of being stalked or watched all night long. That has to be quite terrifying, especially if you're used to living in the mountains and that's something you've never experienced ever. Whether these stories stem from superstition, the power of suggestion, or something darker, the advice is clear. If you're in the Appalachians after dark, keep your wits about you and your whistle quiet, because you might just invite something you never expected. Right, I cut corners on this pastry because I'm lazy. I've got no other excuse. I literally couldn't be bothered to make the pastry. Like I've said a million times, you don't get quality, you don't even get quantity, because I don't post that often, so I don't know what you get. I don't know why you're here. I think you just have to like roll it out. Oh, I don't think I even need to roll it out. Okay. Where was this last video? I don't think I have enough. Oh no. Can I roll it out? Oh, I might have to make a really tiny pie. Rather than one big pie, I'm going to make two little terrifying pies, I think. Okay, so rather than one big pie, which I wanted to make originally, because I cut corners, that's on me, I'm now going to have to make two little ones. So I go like that, because I don't... So we get like a rough line. And then I pour the filling in. I want to overfill it a little bit because the type of pie that it is, it needs to be overfilled a little bit. It needs to be really gross. And now I've got to do the face. Alright, this is going to be the face. Now I need it to look absolutely disgusting. So let's give him a little mouth. A really wide smile, because anything that has a wide smile is automatically disgustingly spooky. And at the moment he looks kind of happy, but I want him to look absolutely disgusting. Right, so I'm going to lay him on top. And then I need to give him some really, like, sharp teeth. Okay, pie number one. Done. Now pie number two. Okay, now he needs a face. Really thin eyes, I think. And then I'm just going to sort of push the top of the pastry up to be like an eyelid. Like surgery gone wrong or something. It looks so gross, I love it. Locals whisper about secret corners of the Appalachian Mountains where the government's grip is strongest. Their presence most mysterious. These aren't just off-limits trails marked by a no trespassing sign. We're talking about an entire swath of wilderness, erased from official maps, tucked away by military installations, camouflaged by dense forest, and sealed cave systems, locked up by heavy gates and guarded with stern warnings. Apparently, in these zones, it's said that radios go silent, GPS devices lose their signal, and cell phones inexplicably cut out. It's as if the mountains themselves are blocking any way for people to connect with the outside world once they enter into the woods. To add to that, numerous reports of strange lights hovering silently above the ridges at night, giving the eerie glowing effect from the high viewpoints across the wilderness. These eerie orbs flicker and float and disappear without pattern or warning. Scientists offer mundane explanations like swamp gas or distant car or train headlights reflecting off the fog, but for others, the lights carry a far deeper meaning. But some say they're restless spirits trapped between worlds, lost souls who can't find the light, perhaps belonging to people who have vanished without a trace in the mountains. Others believe there are warnings or signals from forces beyond human understanding. Then there's a darker whisper that the government isn't just hiding these areas for national security or military reasons, there are guarding secrets that no one's meant to know. Some theories suggest that secret agreements made deep in the mountains, deals struck between human agencies and unknown entities, the trade, access and silence in exchange for keeping certain truths buried. Rumors swirl about Cold War bunkers or hidden missile silos or covert operation centers tucked away where few people go. Because these places are often off limits, their exact purpose isn't publicly disclosed. They're often wrapped in a mystery and fueled by conspiracy. All of it raises the question that chills even the most skeptical. What lies out there concealed in the vast wilderness that none of us are allowed to see? So, I need to put these disgusting looking pies in the oven to make them look even more disgusting, hopefully. But before I do that, I need to do my egg wash. Oops! What?
She's doing a lot.
Because you gotta make sure it cracks.
Yeah, but damn.
Oh crap, I got the shell in there. It didn't matter, as long as it didn't go on the pie, it's fine. Oops, I lost his pupil. Oh no. It'll be fine. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, but I think it will be okay. It usually is. Get up his nose. Right, brush with a beaten egg, which is done. And then I gotta stick them in the oven. Pies in, well, faces in the oven. So, maybe the answer isn't just hidden in the shadows of these ancient mountains, but in the shadows of our minds. Let's dive into the psychology behind why these stories grip us so tightly and why they continue to grow, and sometimes why our brains might just be playing tricks on us. You always make me the bad guy, ruining the vibe of science. We have to fill the gap with something, and it's not my fault you're a dork. Oh, you just love stirring up drama, don't you? Drama? Honey, I am the drama. Look at me. But if I start seeing weird deer with bent knees or hearing my name in whistles, I'm blaming your sciencey stuff. Just remember, I'm the reason you don't scream and run every time a squirrel farts in the woods. Can you just do this sciencey crap, please? The Appalachians aren't just a stretch of mountains, they span thousands of miles, so to put it bluntly, they're pretty fucking big. They're the perfect stage for the mind to play tricks on itself, From Dennis Martin's vanishing to the not dear, to the whispered voices and whistles in the dark, to rumours of government secrets. All of these stories have one thing in common. They thrive in uncertainty. Psychologists actually have a name for this, and it's called the proportionality bias. The bigger and stranger the event, the harder it is for our brains to accept a small, simple answer. A child disappearing in broad daylight, special forces in the woods, dogs refusing to track. Because of the history of the scary rumours that have come from these mountains, our minds will instinctively reach for an explanation that feels equally extraordinary. A feral human, a creature in disguise, or even a government cover-up. But there is another force at play called reputational priming. The Appalachians already carry a massive reputation for strange encounters, eerie legends, and that reputation can colour people's perceptions before they even set foot on the trail. When you're in a place that's famous for the unexplainable, the bizarre, you're more likely to notice and interpret events in that way that matches the myths that you have heard. Sometimes that's harmless embellishment, and other times excitement can take over and a rustle in the bush becomes a shadowy figure, or a deer in the fog becomes something that wasn't a deer at all. Then there's the Appalachian environment itself. The dense forests block your sight lines and can twist sound to your ears, and it can make even familiar shapes look wrong or scary in the corner of your eye. It's a setting that magnifies the uncanny valley effect, you know, that gut deep alarm you get when something looks almost normal but isn't, as we've mentioned like a million times before. That's the same discomfort people describe when talking about the not deer, or hearing about their own whistle answered back in the perfect mimicry. In a place where shadows stretch strangely and silence just feels a bit heavy, your survival instincts are constantly on alert. What is that? Is that a squirrel? Is that a murderer? If it's an alien, show yourself, you know? In a high alert state, the human brain isn't just seeing reality, it's filling in the blanks. Fear can sharpen your senses, but it can just as easily distort them, blurring sound judgment and twisting your perception. This is where paranoia can set in, and suddenly you're seeing shapes in a tree line or hearing footsteps and voices that aren't really there. It's not a weakness, it's an ancient survival system tuned to err on the side of danger. In the wild, it's better to imagine a threat that isn't there than to miss one that is. Then layer on the mistrust of authority, fueled by real government secrecy in certain parts of the mountains, and you'll get the perfect breeding ground for stories that live on for generations. The absence of clear answers doesn't kill these legends, it actually keeps them alive. Each new story, each unexplained lie, each unsolved disappearance adds another thread to the web that the mind just can't stop weaving. That's why these stories haunt the minds of those who hear them. In the Appalachian Mountains, you're not just facing nature, you're confronting the deep, unsettling part of your mind that insists something else lurks just beyond sight, and to be honest, that's probably even scarier. In a wilderness that's vast, sometimes dark, quiet, and at most of the time very unforgiving, maybe it's not just your imagination, but maybe there really is something out there lurking in the trees. Made a pie for you.
Right.
I've been baking for hours.
Right. Jesus Christ.
I've been baking for hours.
Don't do that. I mean, they look really good, but damn.
What would right? Just imagine, like, we've been going out for like a month, right? And I invite you round for dinner, and then I whip out this. Made a pie for you.
Well, I want to know what it was made of for a start. If it was like the first...
I used to have a neighbour called Jim. Jim's no longer with us.
It's in the pie. It looks so good though.
Which one do you want? Do you want Jim? Or Mildred?
I'll have me a bit of Jim. Onto the plate.
No, I don't think that's going to work.
It will.
Because I think the pie will crack.
What do you mean?
His little face. I say that like as if he's cute. Where should I go? Should I go for the eye?
Go for the cheek.
Cheek?
Look.
Ew, her eye bubbled! That's disgusting. It's just a pie.
His face was just sick on the plate.
Ew, I didn't word it like that.
Cheers. I mean, it's good.
That is a good face pie. That's really tasty, that's really sweet. Would you eat the face pie again?
Hell yeah.
The Appalachian Mountains are beautiful but ancient. Older than the Himalayas, and with that age comes a lot of secrets. Some buried in the soil and some still wander in the woods. So if you ever hike there, don't stray from the trail, never whistle, and if you hear your name being whispered from the darkness,
Don't turn around.
Happy Halloween! The world's on fire, everyone's depressed, so what better time than now to make a pie, am I right?
Excuse me. I need your help. You need to kill me.